The Paul Michael David Bain video series, established 2010. In this video, I rank Sean Connery's performances in every Bond appearance and give my top 5 for the UK exclusive 999 WWF pay-per-view No Mercy.
There's me drinking out a Miley mug while you can see that my infamous red hat in the background. I am, oh me.
In 7th place, I'm going to go with his performance in You Only Live Twice, a film I want to like more, but I gave his performance a 7 out of 10 here. It's a very questionable 7, arguably too high, maybe not high enough in some people's eyes, but he really phones it in here, and I've heard others say the same. He looks bored in scenes here, specifically at the end with his scenes with Donald Pleasance. He looks like he's really bored. I'm really bored watching parts of this specific film, You Only Live Twice. As I say, I want to like it better, but every time I rewatch it, it gets lower in my re-rankings. It's not the worst Sean Connery Bond film, but as his performance here, for me, was the one he phoned in. Now every other performance, apart from this one here, and You Only Live Twice, ranges from a solid 8 to Nobody Does It Better, 10. So next on the list is his performance in the unofficial James Bond film Never Say Never Again, solid 8 here. This film is a very mixed bag. At times it feels like a parody. In times, in fact, it is a parody. It's a parody at times, this film. But Sean Connery is its savior. He keeps me interested. He keeps me invested in the film. The film has neat little ideas here and there. And I think it is, despite its faults, this film, it is still a solid performance by Sean Connery in 1985's Never Say Never Again. 5th place, I'm going to go with his debut performance in Dr. No. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I love Roger Moore, love Sean Connery. The last time I spoke about James Bond, I was ranking my top 5 characters in Dr. No. And then a few days later, we lost Sean Connery. And we've obviously lost Roger Moore a few years ago. And I've been saying for years in my videos, it's between them two, whom is my favourite James Bond of all time. And I had been going through my old movie collection. I'm at the year 1984, so I've got done with the Sean Connery Bond films recently. That was the last Bond film I watched, was Never Say Never Again, rewatched. I'm almost finished with the Roger Moore once again. And right now, Sean Connery is at the top. And this is not one of those moments where someone's died and all of a sudden they're the best wrestler ever, so to speak. You know what, like, some people are in here, you know. I remember I was a legit Warrior fan, Ultimate Warrior fan, and had people slagging him off for years. I stuck by him. When he passed away, all of a sudden he had these new fans. I'm not like that. I don't do that BS. But, I started rating his performances before he died, and right now, in my opinion, he's above Roger Moore. Both. I love them both. I'm a Roger Moore mark, and there's reasons to rank Roger Moore higher than Connery, and there's reasons to rank Connery higher than Roger Moore. But for me, his debut, he in Dr. No, it wasn't perfect. his performance in Doctor No. I think his performance in the later Bond films were even better, much better in some cases, but his performance here um, was the beginnings. Like, I don't think you could have started this franchise with Roger Moore and it would have been as successful. And that's coming from a Roger Moore Bond fan. I think Sean Connery was the key to making Bond the icon he would become in the 60s. So, next place on my list of his performances in the James Bond films is his original return in 1971, Diamonds Are Forever, a Bond film that's always quite low in my rankings, and it's low again here. Really don't like the ending to this movie. I think there's a lot of laziness to be seen in some of the filming here, but his performance here was fantastic and what saves the film. Um, Anybody else playing Bond in this movie? I mean, this was his Moonraker of the official, as far as film wise goes. I mean, this Diamonds Are Forever is pretty bad, but Sean Connery is excellent in this movie. And because of his excellent performance in this movie, he's much better, in my opinion, in this movie than he was in You Only Live Twice. He doesn't look bored. He doesn't phone it in, and he gives an even better performance in his sixth appearance as Bond than he did in his first appearance as Bond. Maybe the 4 years he had apart from the role, 4 or 2 years, however it was, maybe the heart grew fonder of Bond. I don't know, but he really delivers in Diamonds Are Forever, and because his performance is so excellent, that movie gets a pass. Whereas the likes of Moonraker, where Roger Moore had his worst performance, even though it's still a solid 7, but Roger Moore had his phone in moment here for Moonraker, and that movie's really, really bad. Um, like it's yeah, it's anyway. Getting off track here. So in third place of my Sean Connery Bond performances, and third, second, and first place are you could rank either of these performances as number one. They're all very, very good. But I'm going to go with his performance in Thunderball. This was peak Connery. Now, Thunderball I've had problems with in the past. When I was younger, much younger, I really enjoyed watching this movie. It was my favourite one, Connery one, to watch on repeat. But as I got older, I found some of the scenes in Thunderball too long to explain. They went on far too long with some of the boring plot elements. If they cut it down, I would enjoy Thunderball a lot better because some of the scenes in this movie, some of the dialogue is Connery's best, and his chemistry he has with Fiona, the Bond woman villain in this movie, and her death scene in this movie when she's dancing with Connery, one of the best moments in the entire franchise. The build up to that, how it was done, and Sean Connery, he's an underrated actor in the Bond movies too. He's one of the best actors in the Bond movies. And Sean Connery, Thunderball, after a rewatch, it's risen up in my rankings once again. But for me, what makes Thunderball really special at times is Sean Connery's performance. Solid 9 out of 10 here. His performance I like a little bit better is to be seen in the Bond film Goldfinger. Goldfinger is quite high in a lot of people's lists, and I can see why. But I have my issues with Goldfinger. My issues with Goldfinger is I don't like the time how long Bond is captured for. I like when Bond's out and about more and doing his investigating and trying to suss things out. I feel a little bit too isolated while watching Goldfinger. He's captured far too long for my liking, but Goldfinger makes up for that with how many iconic moments it has. Connery sells the DB5 moment where the ejector seat comes into play. Connery plays that straight, sells it so well, makes it believable. He could do that with some of the ridiculous gadgets he was given it. That's what I love about Sean Connery. No matter how ridiculous the plot was, he always played it straight and made it believable, if you will. And Goldfinger has a fantastic third act, the best in the franchise. Between that, the iconic moments, the fast-paced start, Goldfinger, still one of the best Bond movies ever, and Sean Connery is near perfect in this movie. But the movie I think he is perfect in, and is what is currently my number one spot as far as James Bond goes, From Russia with Love, Sean Connery's performance in From Russia with Love is a nobody does it better perfect 10. Sorry, Roger. From Russia with Love, the scenes with Robert Shaw and Sean Connery are some of the best in the series. They're believable, they both play it straight. This is before Bond, just a tiny bit before Bond goes way OTT in some of the Goldfinger has some of its OTT moments. The Roger Moore era, even though I love Sir Rog, it is over the top, self-parody, and like I mentioned in Never Say Never Again, it's a bit of a self-parody. But his performance here in From Russia with Love, and the script, and just how the plot develops in From Russia with Love, I wish it's one of those movies I wish I could go back and rewatch and not know anything about, because it is perhaps one of the most gripping Bond films and movies in general. If you don't know anything about this movie, you go into it's a roller coaster ride, and Sean Connery is at his very best here. And I believe I've read somewhere that this was his favorite James Bond film to star in, and I agree with him. I think it was the best James Bond film, the best Connery Bond film, and one of the greatest spy films ever made. So there you have it. That's my rankings of Sean Connery's performances in the James Bond movies. God bless Sean Connery. He will be missed. He recently, as we all know, passed away at the age of 90. And without Sean Connery, we wouldn't be talking about James Bond as far as movies go today.
My non-political live stream.
The first ever WWF No Mercy took place in the UK. There was 2 No Mercies in 1999. That's very lazy, creative there. There should never be a year where there's 2 pay-per-views. I don't care that this specific first one, non-Canyon one, was in the UK. They could have called this, I don't know, Rebellion? Anyways, here's my wee top 5 for the first ever non-Canyon No Mercy pay-per-view. Only one in the UK. 5th place Shane McMahon, 4th place Mankind. There was an entertaining triple threat match between The Undertaker, Triple H, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They get my top 3 spots. Austin number 1, once again for the 3rd pay-per-view in a row. The Rock was on. I'm not even sure what on earth was the Rock even at this show. The Rock was on his heels at this point during 1999, and I have been keeping scores of wrestlers and these ratings, and keeping scores yearly as I go through them yearly rather, and perhaps later on you'll find out who I think was number 1 pay-per-view match wise of 1999 between Austin and The Rock. But here Austin was still the biggest star, but The Rock was creeping behind him for that number 1 spot. Great time to be a wrestling fan. No Mercy for the UK exclusive pay-per-view. these UK pay-per-views, 9 times out of 10, always feel like a non-canyon waste of time, forgotten experience. It was entertaining for what it was, but the main event. But other than that main event, very forgettable show. I don't like watching these UK pay-per-views. I always feel like I'm wasting my time even more so